So the Epstein vote passes, but the redistricting maps are blocked. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, just trying to figure this out because it's all happening right now in real time, right before the show is starting. And to give me an assist on the Texas story, because we're going to start with the bad news first, Brian Harrison's back on, local state representative who makes a lot of noise in the Austin arena. All right, give me the summary. So the maps got slapped down by some judge. Now what? So how is this going to have any effect on the primaries that are happening next year? All right, new people. We're talking to State Representative Brian Harrison. He's based out of Midlothian. Judge has blocked a new redistricting maps in Texas. Now, you're saying we should call this, or the governor should call the special session now, not wait to see how this plays out in the courts. You want him, but he should call it now. Interesting. So, if we do go back and pass a map, I mean, what's to stop another judge from slapping it down? Do you redraw it with different districts that are slightly more amenable to what this judge just said? Wow. All right. Good stuff. State Representative Brian Harrison out of Midlothian. I appreciate you being on the James Show again, sir. Thank you, sir. And State Rep Brian Harrison, that's the guy we collaborated with to make the official Texas Rhino map. If you want a copy of that map, send me an email, parker@wbap.com. Coming up next, this jogger up in Plano was attacked by an illegal immigrant with a hammer. Details coming up on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So we have one Epstein vote down, another one to go. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. So the Epstein vote passed the House of Representatives right before the James Show started. It's nothing stellar as far as the audio goes, but I mean, if you want to hear it, I pulled it for you because I was just watching it anyway. But
on this vote, the yeas are 427. The nays are 1.
1.
2/3 being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended. The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
All right, so that one vote, Clay Higgins out of Louisiana. I don't know why he did that, but that's the guy who did the viral video when he was like the sheriff of like Deer Trail Parish or whatever, when he was like, if you're a gangbanger, I'm easy to find, or whatever like that. You raise your weapon to a man like me, you will return firepower with superior firepower. It was really awesome. It's that guy. I don't know why. I'll figure it out, and I'll tell you later. So I'll keep my eye on the Senate if that vote comes. I don't think it'll happen before the end of the show, but I got another window on C-SPAN in case it does. Now, for the next story that you're going to be talking about with your friends, if you haven't already, there was a jogger in Plano that was attacked by a guy with a hammer. And we find out later that this is a guy who not only is he an illegal immigrant, he was actually in custody, arrested for felonies last year. The Biden administration said, we're not going to deport him. Go ahead and let him go. They let him out. And this happened. The report from WFAA.
Bob Woodruff Park is more than 700 acres of hiking and biking trails, and the people who use it.
Oh, literally every day, sometimes twice a day.
Will tell you they feel safe here. Worry you at all, or have you had any concerns while you're out here?
Not at all. No, it's an awesome area. I'm surprised it even happens.
It was an attack Thursday afternoon. Police say a man with a hammer attacked a woman jogging on the trail behind the dog park, striking her multiple times. She fought him off, and multiple witnesses called 911.
And she was severely injured.
Plano police say she was hospitalized, but the injuries are not life-threatening. And the suspect, based on descriptions and the evidence left behind, identified as 17-year-old Sergio Noe de Nova Duarte, who they arrested about 4 hours later on a charge of aggravated kidnapping with bodily injury. Plano police say the kidnapping charge is partly due to the fact that he had duct tape with him and attempted to use it on the victim. Also, we've learned that he showed up in the computer for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So now there is an ICE hold on him too.
Immigration informed us to place a hold on this individual, and that is exactly what we did.
Friday afternoon, the suspect was expected to be transported to the Collin County Detention Center. Police not yet going into specifics on the apparent motive for the attack, but they want the public to know this particular threat is over.
There are many other individuals that frequent this area. It's fairly a safe place to be, and why this individual chose our victim to this day, to this moment, we don't know why.
Answers Plano police and now ICE agents will be searching for too. In Plano, I'm Kevin Reese.
All right, that's a heartbreaking story here, but did you notice how they left out the part that he's an illegal immigrant? They said ICE had a detainer on him, or ICE had some questions, or he came up in a database. They didn't say whether he was a legal immigrant, he's a naturalized citizen, he's in the process, he's here on a visa. They didn't even tell you that he's an illegal immigrant in that story. Isn't that a little weird? Isn't that a good piece of information that they had, that they could have passed along, that they didn't? Now, I'm not kicking WFAA around. That's just the standard way things are reported these days. They're not doing anything exceptional. That's the norm, to hide that from you. Now, demographics are the most important thing in the world if it fits the narrative. Not only will it be said in the back half of the story, it'll be said in the front half of the story, it'll be in the subheadline, and it will be in the headline. Not just some allusion to maybe, hey, there's some sort of ICE issue here. And look, in a story that was 1 minute and 30 seconds long, that was in the last 30 seconds. They buried the part that just alluded to his immigration status, that he may not be, a natural born citizen. Well, I mean, ICE had a question about him, but they didn't use the term illegal immigrant or illegal alien in that whole story. That's the norm. Now, I want to remind you what it sounds like if the bad guy is a white fella. Let's go to the montage.
Images now circulating on social media of a black man dying after being shot by a white police officer.
The Justice Department is investigating the death of Alton Sterling, a black man shot to death by a white police officer outside a convenience store.
In the past 48 hours, 2 more American cities have been convulsed by the fatal shootings of African-American men by white police officers.
Yeah, so if it's a violent crime and it fits the narrative, the race of the perp and the race of the victim are in the story. Now, do you see the headlines anywhere here in North Texas that says an illegal immigrant attacks a white woman while she's jogging in Plano? No, it's not characterized like that in the headline. Is it characterized like that in the subheadline? What about in the first paragraph of the story? What about anywhere in the story? Now, if they're doing this to you, they are lying to you. A lie by omission is still a lie. It doesn't feel as unethical as a lie of commission, an active lie, but a passive lie. Still a lie. Look, and that happens anytime it works to their advantage. Anytime you can have the victim be someone who's sympathetic to the narrative versus, evil white people, especially old white men.
Once again, it will be all white men on the Republican side of the Judiciary Committee questioning both Judge Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford.
The Republicans that are on the Judiciary Committee, it is a lineup of white guys over the age of 50.
All the white men on the Senate Judiciary Committee.
You've got all white men on the Republican side here.
On the Republican side, all 11 are white men. The Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee, it's 11 white men. And the Republicans, it is 11 white men. The Republicans, it happens to be 11 white men.
Are these white Republican men essentially going to ask her if she's telling the truth?
25 years since the Anita Hill hearings, what hasn't changed is the number of white men. I have covered lots of these white men.
And so at the end of the day, if they have a bunch of white men once again defending another white man.
You have 70-something-year-old white men. No offense to them.
On the Senate Judiciary Committee is all white men.
Almost worst case scenario for a bunch of white men.
I have faith in white men. I believe they can ask fair questions.
Oh my God! How many times does white men have to be used as a pejorative before someone gets like a little sensitive? Like, hey, that's kind of racist. That's kind of sexist. No. If this was the case that we lived in a racist, sexist, bigoted society, would I have a montage like that? 800-288-9227. Coming up next on The James Show, this report saying how many illegal immigrant students are in North Texas schools. You'll hear Casey Bartholomew's segment, or 4 minutes of it. It's hilarious this morning because I totally agree, and he blows it out of the water. You'll hear that next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Just guess how many illegal immigrant students are in North Texas schools. Just think of a number. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. The number's probably bigger than you think. From one report that we saw, 44,000? 44,000 sounds like a lot. But I was already planning on doing this story, and Casey Bartholomew did a great rundown where he found a different report, or maybe it was from just a completely different source, period, where it wasn't just talking about the issues that they were having here in North Texas. It had examples of what's going on in Miami and what's going on in Chicago and what's going on in Colorado. And I was cracking up so much. I'm like, screw it. I'm not going to try and beat him at this game. I'm just going to pull the 4 minutes of audio and play it. This is from the Casey Bartholomew show. For those of you who aren't all-day listeners, first off, you should be. But it's our mid-morning show. He's on after the morning show before Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins from 9 to 11. And this was him earlier today.
Schools around the U.S. are seeing big drops in enrollments from students, and it's costing them millions of dollars, they say. Now, the reason they're seeing the big drops, it is because of Trump's illegal immigration policies. We're deporting these scumbags who don't deserve to be here. And when they leave, they generally take their kids with them. Now, in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, about 2,550 students have entered the district from another country so far this year, which is down from 14,000 last year and 20,000 the year before. That means in the past 3 years, well, the previous 2 years, they had 34,000 new students coming in. Now they have 2,500 coming in. Think about what that means, by the way. How many classrooms is that? How many classrooms full of kids that have no business being there are now there? This is a good thing. This is a very good thing. It means maybe our school districts will improve now because the worthless illegal aliens who are raping the system aren't there. But they're trying to categorize it as a bad thing. School board member in Miami-Dade, Luis Santos, said the trend is a sad reality. It's not a sad reality. It's a positive reality. I mean, think about that. That's down 32,000 kids in one school district that we don't have to fill with a bunch of thieves who don't deserve to be here anyway. And I say thieves not because they're criminals. In that way, they're stealing education is what they're doing. The enrollment declines in Miami-Dade erased about $70 million from the district's annual budget, forcing administrators to scramble to cover the unexpected shortfall. Let's think about that for a minute. If the kids aren't there, and you're not getting money for those kids, you shouldn't need it, right? Are they having to buy less hookers and beer this year? Because there's 32,000 less illegal alien children there. They only care about the money. And before you send your nasty emails, I'm not talking about the rank and file teachers. I'm talking about the administrators who are mismanaging millions of dollars that is supposed to be earmarked for educating kids. The district's newcomer academy, again, in northern Alabama, Albertville City Schools, Superintendent Bart Reeves said the district's newcomer academy at a local high school hasn't been enrolling any new students. He says that's just not happening this year with the closure of the border. He expects his budget from enrollment declines will cost him about 12 teacher positions. But I don't want anybody losing their job, but if the kids aren't there, you don't need to pay the teachers. You don't need those teachers if the kids aren't there. So unfortunately, they're going to have to go get jobs someplace else. In Palm Beach County Public Schools, enrollment has fallen by more than 6,000 students this year. The declines in the numbers of immigrants coming to the U.S. were already registration numbers this summer. Denver Public Schools enrolled 400 new-to-country students this summer compared to 1,500 the previous summer. That's down 75%. Outside Chicago, Waukegan Community Unified School District, 60, signed up 100 fewer new immigrant students, and administrators in the Houston Independent School District shuttered the Last America's Newcomer School, a program dedicated to children who are new to the U.S., after its enrollment fell to just 21 students from 111 last year. I want to know if you think this is a bad thing.
Question for you. Is this a bad thing? I thought that was perfect. By the way, I love when I agree with Casey Bartholomew. But I also noticed that I get emails, Facebook messages, Instagram posts from time to time saying, ooh, Casey said the opposite of what you said. Casey doesn't like Airbnbs and short-term rentals in residential neighborhoods. Or Casey doesn't think all drugs should be legal. Casey's okay with the THC ban. What are you going to say about that? Well, how come I don't get emails when we agree? Because we absolutely agree on this. It's not just that we have this giant number of illegal immigrant students that are enrolled in our school. And it's not just that a big chunk of them are going home on their own or, by deportation, by force of deportation. The most interesting part, totally agree with Casey, is the reaction of these administrators who act like this is a bad thing. You know what the number one determining factor on how your school's going to perform? It's not race, it's immigration status. And that makes sense because how are you going to be able to read on a 12th grade level if you can't even speak English? So they're not worried about educating the students who are supposed to be here, the ones who are actually doing the work, the ones who can actually speak English. They're not worried about their scores going up. They're not even worried about getting a better academic record. Just worried about money. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we'll talk to immigration attorney Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, because she'll probably disagree with me on this, but I think deporting illegal immigrant students is a good thing. It's The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. My guest is Kate Lincoln Goldfinch. She's an immigration attorney here in the great state of Texas. And we have a couple of issues that I want to bring up with Kate. First off, welcome back to the show, Kate. It's been a while. Oh, look, the studio audience is happy to see you, too. Oh, look at that. They missed you. So let's start with the report that I saw. 44,000 students in North Texas schools are of an illegal status. That number sounds kind of high to me. Does that shake with you? Does that sound about right? Well, I hear stories, and I don't know if this is a larger trend or this is just isolated in certain pockets where they happen to have a lot of illegal immigrants, but it was mentioned in Houston, in Miami, in Chicago, and a couple other places that their enrollment of illegal immigrant students is declining rapidly. And now they're concerned because this affects the funding, the mechanism by which they're funded. You know, they're going to lose all kinds of dollars. But also that, I mean, while I kind of hope that's true, it sounds like it's happening faster than I expected. Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, what advice would you have for someone who doesn't have legal status here and they have kids in school? Is this a risk you would recommend, or is there an alternative or something you can do to help their situation? Well, a lot of this stems from the Supreme Court decision that was made, I think, in the 80s that said educational services are to be offered to all children regardless of their status. Is there any chance that that could get overturned? There seems to be a whole lot of court decisions that are just coincidentally going with the big trends of the day. Could this be one of them? All right, Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, when we talk about what was life like before that Supreme Court decision, was it a patchwork of different policies that were state to state, or you know, if we went back in time, what would that look like? All right, Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, good chat. I appreciate your expertise in immigration on this. You can find her at Lincoln Goldfinch Law, lincolngoldfinch.com. Thank you very much, Kate. Yep, good to see you. Coming up next on the James Show, we have, continuing with the theme of illegal immigration, we have another crime story that points in that direction. And also, for those of you who are Leonard Skinner fans, you may be happy to hear that they're going to be in town with Foreigner, Dos Equis Pavilion, August 28th. I know that's a long way ahead, but dude, it's almost 2026. Get tickets and information at livenation.com, or you can listen to the WBAP morning show this week to find out how you can win a pair of tickets. And if you want to say, James, Leonard Skinner, didn't they die in the plane crash in like the 70s or whatever? Dude, I saw Leonard Skinner like 5 years ago. It's pretty awesome. I know it's not all the same guys, but one of them is. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. More illegal immigrant crimes happening in North Texas. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Welcome back to the big show. To review, if I imagine most of you weren't listening at the beginning of the show, and so we started off with the Epstein vote, and then we went right into this story about how you may have heard about the lady, the jogger up in Plano who got attacked by a guy with a hammer. Did you know it was an illegal immigrant? Did you know it was an illegal immigrant that was actually in custody last year in 2024? The Biden administration let him go, didn't deport him, let him out of jail, didn't even hold him on bond. And so when we talk about, enforcing these laws and these deportations and cooperating with ICE and honoring detainers, there's real victims to this. And it's not the illegal immigrants. It's the lady that was jogging that had to go to the hospital with serious injuries. It's the lady that will never go jogging again. She will never be comfortable by herself in public again. She will have her head on a swivel for the rest of her life. So when we talk about these policies, just enforcing the damn law the way it's written, it's not because we're racist, sexist, bigot, homophobes. It's because we're tired of our moms, our wives, our sisters, and our daughters being attacked with hammers, being attacked by these guys. We're tired of them being hit and killed by drunk drivers who shouldn't be here. We're tired of them being hit and killed. What was that, Memorial Day weekend when the illegals on a jet ski killed someone down here? So I'll get you all caught up. First off, the update on the Plano jogger hammer attack from WFAA.
Bob Woodruff Park is more than 700 acres of hiking and biking trails, and the people who use it.
Oh, literally every day, sometimes twice a day.
Will tell you they feel safe here. Worry you at all, or have you had any concerns while you're out here?
Not at all. No, it's an awesome area. I'm surprised it even happens.
It was an attack Thursday afternoon. Police say a man with a hammer attacked a woman jogging on the trail behind the dog park, striking her multiple times. She fought him off, and multiple witnesses called 911.
And she was severely injured.
Plano police say she was hospitalized, but the injuries are not life-threatening. And the suspect, based on descriptions and the evidence left behind, identified as 17-year-old Sergio Noe de Nova Duarte, who they arrested about 4 hours later on a charge of aggravated kidnapping with bodily injury. Plano police say the kidnapping charge is partly due to the fact that he had duct tape with him and attempted to use it on the victim. Also, we've learned that he showed up in the computer for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So now there is an ICE hold on him too.
Immigration informed us to place a hold on this individual, and that is exactly what we did.
Friday afternoon, the suspect was expected to be transported to the Collin County Detention Center. Police not yet going into specifics on the apparent motive for the attack, but they want the public to know this particular threat is over.
There are many other individuals that frequent this area. It's fairly a safe place to be, and why this individual chose our victim to this day, to this moment, we don't know why.
Answers Plano police and now ICE agents will be searching for too. In Plano, I'm Kevin Reese.
In a press release from yesterday, Department of Homeland Security, DHS.gov, there's a public statement from ICE here. The headline says, ICE lodges arrest detainer for an illegal alien who attacked an innocent woman in Plano, Texas with a hammer. They say on November 13th, Plano police arrested and charged him with aggravated kidnapping, bodily injury. ICE lodged an arrest detainer on him with the Collin County Jail to ensure he is not released back into American communities. You realize there's communities all over America that are ignoring those detainer requests. I don't care how long his rap sheet is. I don't care if he just attacked a lady with a hammer with duct tape. He was gonna what? Bound her up and kidnap her, and then what? Have Bible study? They continue on the ICE release, and this was just released yesterday. The crime happened last week on November 13th. We're just now finding this out yesterday. Sergio Noe de Nova Duarte has a lengthy rap sheet, including previous arrests in 2024 for burglary and larceny. Following his arrest in 2024, ICE apprehended this criminal illegal alien, and the Biden administration released him into the country with a notice to appear before an immigration judge in 2026. So best case scenario, this guy who already had a rap sheet, who already had property crimes, violent crimes, We'll talk to you again in 2 years. Best case scenario, just go roam the streets for 2 years. You got 2 more years to commit crimes before we're even going to come looking for you. So Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin in this release here, she said this criminal illegal alien should have never been loose in our communities to attack this woman jogging in the park with a hammer. Following this illegal alien's arrest in 2024, the Biden administration released this criminal illegal alien back into our communities. Under President Trump and Secretary Noam, ICE lodged an arrest detainer to ensure this criminal illegal alien is never able to prey on innocent women in our country again. If you are for women's rights, if you are for protecting women, if you're for keeping women safe, you cannot be against this. You cannot support the idea of, I don't care if he's hitting people with hammers, or I don't care if he's breaking into people's houses. I don't care if he's stealing from people. I don't care if he's robbing businesses. I don't want to be looked at as a racist. You better let him go. Just walk the streets for 2 years and we'll just give you a wink and a nudge. We'll see you in 2 years, right? Right? Sergio came to the United States on a tourist visa in 2016. He was supposed to also leave by September 17th, 2016. So allowing this guy to wander around for 9 years without being deported is bad enough. But after 9 years and arrest and multiple felony charges against him, you still released him and allowed to wander around the community? What are you anti-American? Are you in favor of American citizens being attacked? Because that's what you're setting up. That's what it looks like. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, Michelle Obama has some advice for white people. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. We may get a vote in the Senate on the Epstein files before the end of the day. If it happens before the end of the James Show, I'll definitely let you know. I just opened another window on C-SPAN over here, so I'll keep an eye on that. We're currently talking about some crimes that are committed here locally by illegal immigrants, and they're not going to get the attention that some other interracial crimes would get, but that doesn't make them any less real to the people it happened to. I was just playing you the story about the jogger in Plano that got attacked with an illegal alien with a hammer. Also had some duct tape and was going to try and bound her up and kidnap her. They didn't mention that he was an illegal alien in the story, but we got the press release from ICE yesterday that spelled it out. We also found out this wreck that you heard about a few weeks ago in Fort Worth. Killed a mom. Also an illegal.
A man is behind bars tonight, charged with causing a deadly crash that killed a mother in Fort Worth. It's been 2 months since the incident on Boat Club Road, but over the weekend, police arrested Eduardo Partida in Parker County. Investigators say Partida was drunk when he crashed head-on into a family's car, killing Brittany Elliott. Her husband, Spencer, is a beloved coach at Keller High School. He was injured, along with their 12-year-old daughter.
Yeah, so the narrative's tiring. The narrative's tiring that if a white person kills someone and it is a protected class, then it's in the headline. It's in the subheadline. It's in the body of the story. It's all over the place. In fact, we've got to have rallies about it. We've got to have riots about it. We've got to have protests about it. We have to have professional athletes making a T-shirt about it. Remember, hands up, don't shoot, or taking a knee or any of that. Roles were reversed. Doesn't even get mentioned. Isn't that terrible? If this was a white supremacist country, is this how the media would treat you? If this country was, based according to the 1619 Project, that's the animating principle of this entire country. Is this how the media would behave? If this country was racist against people of color? Or is this more sound like this is a country that's racist against white people? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that behavior matches that description better than the narrative. And so it's with that setup that I want to walk straight into Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama did some interview and it was going viral over the weekend. So I pulled a couple clips just to let you in on what all the fuss is. Because I don't think she's ever going to run for office. I don't think we have to see her on the campaign trail or have to see her in a court of public opinion. But the fact that she can go out and make statements like this and not get any criticism, not get any pushback, but instead get wild, thunderous applause from the people in front of her, that's a concern. And it's all just slander. First, before the race stuff, let's start with the gender stuff. The reason Kamala lost is because she's female. The reason Michelle Obama's never going to run for president is because we're just not ready for a female president.
Do you think that impacts the room that we've made for a woman to be president?
Well, as we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not. So don't waste my time. We got a lot of growing up to do. And there's still, sadly, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman, and we saw it.
Yeah, that's why we voted against her, because we're all just biased against women. We just hate women. Couldn't have possibly been her policies. Couldn't have been anything wrong about her. Narcissists are completely incapable of self-criticism. I used to work with one, and he was a benevolent narcissist. He wasn't like a bad guy. It's just that like every show that we did or every commercial he would do or anything, he'd be like, that went well. That went really good. Like no matter how bad it was, like he always had a good day. It was nice hanging out with him. But I'm tired of this. You know what? I remember the entirety of the Team Red sphere loving Margaret Thatcher, not because she was or was not a woman, but do you realize what Margaret Thatcher's real legacy is when it comes to not just the UK, but world affairs? Margaret Thatcher was the one who brought Britain back from socialism. They had nationalized so many of their industries, which is the textbook definition of socialism. But Thatcher went back and she was like, okay, so British Petroleum, we're going to privatize that. British Steel, we're going to privatize that. The telecom system, we're going to privatize that. The farm system, we're going to privatize that. She just went through privatizing. It was the socialist worst nightmare. Because not only was it someone who wasn't for socialism, it was something who did something we don't even do here. Go back and undo socialism. How much time do I spend talking about we need to undo all these social programs? They're killing us. They're drowning us. And we haven't repealed any of them. We haven't repealed Obamacare. We haven't repealed free lunches or SNAP or Section 8. We had a hard enough time pulling back the subsidies on Elmo. So no, you bring a woman out here who actually is pro-Constitution, who wants government to be smaller, who wants to make some big cuts. Watch how fast we rally around her. But this is the part that is going to stick with you. Michelle Obama has a message for white people. Okay, what's this one?
Worry about it. Let me explain something to white people.
Hang on. First off, imagine what would happen. How fast would I be fired if I did a whole segment? Hey, let me explain something to black people. It's all condescending like that. Whatever I said after that would get me fired, even if it was positive.
Worry about it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all.
Hey, look, as a white person, I would like to absolve you of that responsibility. I don't care if your hair's straight or not. And how is it that I'm the bad guy when you're trying to make your hair straight so you can match what? My beauty standards? First off, I thought that was cultural appropriation. I thought that if you were trying to copy something that some other race was doing, something that's not endemic to your race, I thought that was cultural appropriation. And that makes you the bad guy. Oh, no, but when you do it, I'm still the bad guy. So I'm the bad guy when I adopt cultural traits from non-white people, but I'm also the bad guy when non-white people adopt cultural traits from white people. Sounds like I just can't win, can I? She continues.
It is exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time.
Okay, well, then don't do it. You don't have to do it for me. Look, and there's a lot of ladies out there, black ladies that have natural hair. Look great. Don't do this for me. You're not going to date me anyway. You should only care what your husband thinks about your hair. What do you really care that much about what white America thinks of you? Do you really think it's going to change our opinion one whit? And then I guess that if it does though, but you understand where this like responsibility pointing goes, because we're so mean and we force them to adhere to our beauty standards, which we don't. I don't care. That's why they can't swim. That's why they don't go to the gym. Okay, so you're blaming your lack of swimming and obesity issues on me too now? And this is all linked back to hair? Damn, I didn't know I had this much power over the black community. I didn't think I did. I'm over here minding my own business. All of a sudden, I'm getting accused of screwing up people's ability to swim and stay in shape over the straightness of their hair. How illogical is this? Does any white person think that? She continues.
Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act, an act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair? Don't tell me how to wear my hair. Don't wonder about it. Don't touch it. Just don't.
All right, deal. I'm not going to touch your hair. I think I can abide by that. But I mean, do you hold any weight in that? Does white America force black women to adhere to our beauty standards? Is that why they can't swim? Is that why they don't go to the gym? Good Lord. I mean, the stretch to just blame everything on white people. I mean, Stretch Armstrong would be jealous. 800-288-9227. 9227. I guess we have to go back to the classic chant on the James Show. I'm sorry I'm white. Sorry I'm male.
Sorry I'm white. Sorry I'm male. Sorry I'm white. Sorry I'm male. Sorry I'm white. I'm sorry I'm male. Why? Why am I a monster?
Updates on the Epstein vote next on the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, Texas homeowners. James Parker here for Rhino Shield. If you don't have paint on your house, but you have a brick house and you don't like the color anymore, maybe there's too many houses in the neighborhood that have the same color and you just get lost in the shuffle. Maybe it's the bricks from a certain time period and you can tell just by the color and the look and the shape and the way it's laid that your house just looks old. It just looks dated. It looks like it was next door to the Brady Bunch in 1971. Well, a lot of people are painting the bricks, but you know what would be smarter than that? Using Rhino Shield on your bricks. Because listen, Rhino Shield, not only will it last longer than paint, it has properties paint just can't cover. It has an insulative factor. It's 8 to 10 times thicker than paint. It still keeps that cool texture, the bricks and the stone behind it. But it adds an insulating factor. It blocks UV rays. And the reason why it doesn't chip, the reason why it doesn't flake or peel off is because it expands when the house expands. It contracts in the winter when the house gets cool. So that's why it's more robust. That's why it lasts longer. That's why you're not going to come back in 10 years and you're going to see a bunch of faded, peeling, cracking, sorry paint. Do this once and then never have to worry about painting your house again. Go to rhinoshielddfw.com. Get Gary to come out. He'll give you a quote. He'll show you how the technology works. If you need help with the price, you can get 20% off through the holidays mentioning the James Show. And you can get financing. So you just, well, I don't know, $150, $160 a month. So go to rhinoshielddfw.com. rhinoshielddfw.com. Well, all eyes are on the U.S. Senate to see how quickly they take up the Epstein vote. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Right before the James Show started today, the House of Representatives passed the Epstein.
On this vote, the yeas are 427, the nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
So we're now one step closer to getting the Epstein documents. Now, I am not wildly enthusiastic. In fact, my level of care is at a medium level. It's at a mid. I am not 10 out of 10 or one. Like on a scale of 1 to 100, I'm about 70% interested in this. If they're going to be released, I'll be about 75, maybe 80% interested. I'm really only going to be 100% interested if they're released and it's not redacted all to hell. I'm still concerned that the Senate is going to do something and put an amendment on this bill that could stop the process. I'm still concerned that they could release it, but it'll be so redacted it doesn't matter. There is a concern that they're going to release some of the documents, but not everything they know, and it'll just be convenient that we'll find out 40 years from now, oh, look, here's this is who Deep Throat was during Watergate. Remember that? We just figured that out like 10 years ago. So if we're actually going to get the actual information where people in prominent positions of power, names that you know and names that you don't know, billionaires, people in elected office, CEOs, Hollywood people, directors, producers, media members, news anchors, whoever. If people are really going down and we're really going to find out the truth, my interest in this story is 100. 100. Right now, I have turned on one of my monitors here in the WBAP studios to C-SPAN 2. That's the one that always has a camera on the Senate if something's going on. Right now, we're waiting for a senator to speak, but they're not dealing with the Epstein issue right now. It's some nuclear regulatory commission nomination. Boring. So I'm keeping an eye on it. If something happens before the end of the show, I'm all over this. I heard on the news there, did you hear Clay Higgins is the one guy, Representative Clay Higgins out of Louisiana, is the one guy that voted no on the Epstein bill. And let me read the whole thing because they just kind of glossed over it in the news here. But I'm going to read his whole tweet because I was really interested. If everybody in the House agrees on something but one dude, sometimes I agree with the one dude. I'm not sure if I'm going to this time, but come on, let's go through this. Clay Higgins says, he's a Republican, by the way. I've been a principled no on this bill from the beginning. What was so wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. It abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America as written. This bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members, etc. If enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt, not by my vote. The Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough investigation that has already released well over 60,000 pages of documents from the Epstein case. That effort will continue in a manner that provides all due protections for innocent Americans. If the Senate amends the bill to properly address the privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally implicated, then I will vote for that bill when it comes back to the House. I get the motivation here. I still disagree with it. 800-288-9227. If you want to protect the people, then release it. Release it. Redact what you have to. Release it. Send people to jail that are criminals. But this whole idea, well, we can't release this info. We can't send people to jail. Innocent people might get hurt. Guilty people are running free. Child abusers child rapists are running free. And if this is the only way we can get justice to those people, it's a sacrifice that you have forced upon us. Not you, Clay Higgins, and not you, guy listening, but the people who've been holding this for, 6 years now? This is John in Kemp. You're on WBAP. Hey, John.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, I just want, who does the redacting? Do we know that? You know, because they redact so many things they put out and you can't even read it. It's not even worth reading. I was just wondering, who does the redacting? Who decides what can be put out publicly and who can't?
Like, I don't know. My best guess would be somebody's lawyer. That's for sure. But I am super suspicious that some other person with a political interest doesn't go over with a Sharpie and take some extra redactions out that aren't legally required to cover someone's butt. So if the only way we're going to get this list is have the unredacted version, I think it's terrible that there's going to be some innocent people whose lives are going to be overturned by this. But I think it's so important. It's worth that. It's worth it because I'm not saying it's Bill Gates, but it's got to be people like that, people whose name you know, who may or may not be in positions of power. But Thomas Massey said the other day, yeah, it's he talked to the lawyers. It's people in office. It's businessmen. It's famous people. It's not famous people. It's billionaires. There's a wide swath of people, and I want to find out all of them. I want them all to go to jail. And if this ugly way is the way we have to do it, I'm kind of okay with that. But I'm glad you asked, John, because my next guest, I'll ask him. Jeremy Rosenthal's coming back on, and he does a lot of the legal analysis on the James Show. I'll ask him that question. Who does the redaction? All right, John?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, as always, James.
All right. Thank you, John. We'll try and get we'll try and get him some answers to that next. Jeremy Rosenthal from TexasDefenseFirm.com is coming on next. That'll be the first question I ask him. If you have any questions for the lawyer around this Epstein situation, 800-288-9227, or you can send me a Facebook message or an email real quick, parker@wbap.com. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. If you quit banging your head for a little bit, it's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. My next guest, Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. Sorry to call you 2 days in a row, but I had another legal question, and you're our legal analyst, so. Well, actually, if I was really on retainer, you wouldn't be allowed to do this in a public setting, would you? Or would you? Yeah, they do. We've seen them get real creative on this one. All right, so I'm bringing you on to talk about the Epstein list vote. It happened today. It passes the House. It's going to go to the Senate. And there's some concerns that there may be some amendments on a bill. What amendment could be on a bill like this? It's like either release the damn files or don't. Ew. Yeah, I guess so. So the next question is, we're talking with Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. I had a caller in the last segment say, who does the redactions? Who's in charge of that? Who decides what's redacted and what's not? Do you think we're going to see it? Think we're going to see the whole list, or are we just going to see a bunch of redacted slop that's not going to help anybody and send anybody to prison? I want oligarchs to go to jail. I want these elites. I want people who rape children to go to jail. That's what I want. Yeah, that's what I want. All right, Jeremy Rosenthal, thanks again. TexasDefenseFirm.com is his website. He's a great lawyer up in McKinney and legal analyst on The James Show. Thank you, sir. All right, coming up, your response. I'm getting a lot of good response here on both the Epstein situation and the Michelle Obama comments. I'll share them with you next on The James Show. If you want to add to that, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, we may be one step closer to seeing the Epstein files finally. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. I know, good to see you too. Right before the James Show started, the House passed the Epstein vote, the bill to release the Epstein files, and it was almost unanimous.
On this vote, the yeas are 427, the nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended. The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Bang. So it's headed to the Senate now. John Thune told the media that they may be able to pass this as soon as tonight. So I rush over to C-SPAN 2, where they have a camera on the Senate, and they said they're waiting on a senator to speak on a Nuclear Regulatory Commission nomination, but that screen has been up for about an hour now. So if it happens before the end of the show, I'm going to jump right to it. But then we just had a great discussion with Jeremy Rosenthal about the redactions. And even if we get it, is it going to be redacted beyond belief or beyond use? Because what we really want isn't even just the list or the whole list, nothing but the list. We don't want the victims to have to suffer negative consequences from being put in public blast. We want people who rape children to go to prison. That's all. I don't care who it is. I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. I don't care if it's Donald Trump. I don't care if it's Kamala Harris. I don't care if it's my dad. Go to jail. I know it's not you, Dad. Just using that as an example. Chris in Mesquite, you're on WBAP.
Hey, how you doing, James? Tell you what, I think we're not going to be able to see anything on these files when we do get them, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Madam Maxwell is down in Bryan College Station right now, correct?
Oh, you're talking about Ghislaine.
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Maxwell is at Bryan College Station, which is a low-security camp. It is a community facility. By BOP regulations, because of her conviction and because of her time, she cannot be there, but yet she is.
What does that mean to you?
That means having been someone who has served time in the federal system, I can tell you that they have a sex offender at a camp, which is against all BOP regulations, which means they're trying to appease Madam Maxwell because Madam Maxwell knows the truth. She hasn't slipped and fallen. She hasn't, had any accidents like old Jeffrey did, but that's a matter of time because she obviously knows something. They are protecting her and putting her at Bryan College Station, which is a facility that if she really wanted to, she could walk out the front door.
So did you go to federal prison or state prison?
Federal.
Okay. So, well, you know more than I do.
And I started off at a Club Fed right down the road from Bryan College Station.
What did you do?
I was in for fraud, for white-collar crime, and I spent 4 years in federal prison, and I can tell you that 2 of those years were spent actually in a prison, not at a camp. And I was on a prison compound in Bastrop, Texas, that was 45% child molesters.
Ew.
That had half as much time as I did for fraud.
Ew. Oh, that's terrible.
And the federal system is full of it.
Gross. All right. So
they're gonna tell you they're gonna do all this stuff, and they're gonna thump their chest and tell you we're gonna convict all these people. I'm telling you right now that if Maxwell has a sentence of 20 years and is a sex offender, and she's at a camp, she's not going to do her 20 years, and she's not going to where she's at. She should not even be. By FOP regulations, by Bureau of Prison Regulations, she should not be there, which means someone very high up is making sure that she's very protected.
She's twisted someone's arm, right? That's what you're getting at? Yeah, I hear you.
Exactly. So when we do get these files, the redactions are going to be crazy. It's going to be sheets of black lines that you can't read anything. It's going to be claimed that it's protect this person and protect. It's protecting people. It's protecting people from convictions. And if we do get convictions, they're going to get the good old, well, we're going to give you 6 months house arrest and a year and a day so that you can only serve 3 months. That's what's fixing to happen.
Do you think that they're going to at least throw a couple of people to the wolves to act like they got them all, and they'll,
There's going to be the sacrificial lamb. There was always a sacrificial lamb.
Okay.
This is the U.S. government we're talking about. It's always a sacrificial lamb.
Well, great call.
But in the grand scheme of things, we can sit here and talk for hours about what these files say and what they're not going to say. The truth of the matter is, we're never going to know. They're never going to tell us. And the reason is Look down in Bryan College Station where they have an inmate that's not even supposed to be there.
I hear you. That makes me suspicious as hell, too. All right. Good stuff. Chris and Mesquite, appreciate you calling in, sir. And he waited a really long time for that one, too. So I appreciate your patience there, Chris. I realize most of you don't have the time. A lot of people who listen to radio, you're actually doing something else. You're at work, or you're driving, or you're on a sales call, or you're tinkering in your workshop. But the fast way is you can just send a quick email or a Facebook message, I think is what is probably the fastest. And I get a ton of those. And there's some people that are feeling sort of the same way as Chris and Mesquite. Paul via email said, number one, where's the videos? You know what? Good point. When we talk about the Epstein list, Jeremy said, this is kind of a big nebulous thing. This isn't like a one piece of paper. This is a moving target where it's flight logs, it's financial transaction records, it's the witness testimony, but also Paul brings up the videos. Aren't there videos? Are there some videos? Because Pam Bondi said there were videos. Have the videos been securely stored? Is there copies of them? Have they been destroyed? Because those would be damning for perpetrators. You can't redact that. Also, he says, One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb said extensively, covers all the things Epstein. Worth reading if you haven't already. I have not, so thank you. Stephen Fort Worth sent an email in. He says pretty much, he's talking about the Michelle Obama story. Pretty much every voice was white. Yeah. I get you. All right, coming up next on the James Show, John Ingham. The Dallas Cowboys win. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but, don't get too optimistic that they're going to make the playoffs or anything. Details next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, sports fans. James here for the Prize Picks app. So the Dallas Cowboys won yesterday. We'll talk about it a little bit more in depth with John Ingham. But listen, if you were already watching the game, you could have added a little bit more fun to the action last night. Yeah, it was fun watching them stomp all over the Raiders, but wouldn't it have been more fun if you could have been winning some money in the process? And you can do that with Prize Picks. I know it's so fun. You might think, well, this is Texas. That's probably illegal. No. It's totally legal. Including Texas. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Millions of users are taking advantage, winning billions in awarded payouts already. And it's pretty simple to do. You make a lineup of 2 to 6 players. You look at their statistics. You pick one of them, just one, and you do more or less. And that's it. You can mix and match your teams and your players from different leagues, across different sports, across the planet. Whatever you're already watching, whatever sports you're already into, football, basketball, hockey, tennis, soccer, esports, darts. No, and that's not a joke. They have darts in here. Just to give you an example, Bradley Brooks. He's got a match against some guy named Martin on Friday at 6:45. 2.5 180s thrown. Will you pick more or less? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? If you do, you need to go pick up Prize Picks. You'll love it. Download Prize Picks. Use promo code WBAP. Get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. So go download Prize Picks. Use promo code WBAP. I'll get credit for being an awesome radio host. You'll get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Yeah, so the Cowboys won. I guess that's nice. This is the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker, along with WBAP weekend host John Ingham back on the James Show. And listen, I'm excited for the Cowboys. I'm a lifelong fan. Glad they won. I prefer that to them losing. It's just hard to get excited about them beating a team that I knew was bad. I just hadn't watched the Raiders play all year. I didn't know they were this bad. I mean, that might as well have played Mesquite Poteet, John. Well, this was a different defense than we've seen all year. We had a couple of new guys. We had some guys back from injury. DeMarvion Overshawn had a new number even. So it's almost not fair to even compare them to previous weeks because, I mean, how many people were here this week that weren't here a month ago? Cowboys' chances of making the playoffs. Oh, no. You just said 6-7. You said 6 of the next 7. I just do that for my kids. Yeah. Well, NFL Next Gen stats say the Cowboys have a 7% chance of making the postseason. That feels a little high, doesn't it? All right. A week ago, it was 4. It was 4, right? All right. Well, and on the bright side, yeah, the Cowboys aren't that great, but the Washington and New York teams are even worse. So that's makes me feel a little better. The Redskins and Giants are worse than we are. So that's pretty good. John Ingham, thank you very much for being on the James Show, sir. All right, you can catch him on the weekends here on WBAP. All right, now that heartbreaking segment's over, coming up next on the James Show, what was I going to do? Let me look at my little schedule here. I'd flipped away from it. Ha ha ha! And laughing over there in the booth. Oh yeah, funny audio here. A guy says no one should be a billionaire. He's running for Senate in the United States, saying no one should be a billionaire. Really? You're trying to be in the Senate of the titular head of the capitalist free world, and no one should be a billionaire? We'll talk about that next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Is it unethical to be a billionaire? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. You hear this come out every once in a while where no one deserves to be a billionaire, no one deserves to control that much resources, or there's no one. The AOC said it before. Billie Eilish said it like a week ago. Now we have this guy that's running for Senate in Maine saying no one deserves to be a billionaire. Well, let me play this for you first, and then we'll blow this out of the water.
Nobody works hard enough to justify $1 billion, not in a world where I know people that have 3 jobs and can't even afford their rent. I refuse to believe that in a state like Maine, where people work as hard as we do here, that it is merely hard work that gets you that kind of success. We all know it isn't. We all know it's the structures, it's the tax code. That is what allows that money to get accrued, and that is also why we can get it back. Because the world that we live in today is not organic. It is not natural. The political and economic world we have did not happen because it had to. It happened because politicians in Washington and the billionaires that write the policies that they pushed, they made this happen. They changed the laws, and they made it legal to accrue as much wealth and power as they have now. And we need to go make it illegal again to do that.
All right, it was never illegal to be rich. It was never illegal to be a billionaire. It was never illegal to accumulate as much wealth as possible, nor should it be. This is a free market capitalist system. That's the encouragement of the free market capitalist system. That's what we're all trying to do, is go accumulate as much resources as we possibly can. That's why you work today. That's why I'm at work now. Of course, some people deserve to be a billionaire. But notice there's a few little tricks he does in there, like a little rhetorical sleight of hands. Number one, when he says no one works hard enough to be a billionaire.
Nobody works hard enough to justify $1 billion, not in a world where I know people.
Yeah, stop that. So I don't think anyone thinks that people deserve $1 billion if they work hard enough. Who are you arguing against? I hate these straw man arguments. I hate it when I'm trying to have an intelligent discussion on economics and the people on the other side of the aisle are aggressively misinterpreting or have no idea what my economic philosophy is, period. How are you arguing against me when you don't even understand what I believe? They're not here to argue against me. They're not here to actually understand what you believe and what I believe and then formulate their opinions for it. He is trying to convince the group of people in front of him that you and I are evil and he's a good person. And he's using envy. He's using emotion. There was nothing economic in his statements. There was nothing logical in his statements. These were all emotional pulls. No one works hard enough, especially when I see people working 3 jobs, can't afford their rent. These are all emotional pulls. Oh, okay. So people aren't allowed. It's unethical to accumulate wealth while other people are poor. No, I'm not buying that. So that statement's false. Number one, I don't believe people become a billionaire by working super duper hard. In a free market, capitalist economy, which we're supposed to have, and for the most part do, you get to be a billionaire by helping a whole lot of people. That's how you become a billionaire. Our first billionaire, Standard Oil, Rockefeller. What did he do? He developed the oil industry. Geez. Is that important? Did that improve anyone's standard of living? He became a millionaire/billionaire because he dropped the price of oil by about 90%. It was like $10 a barrel when he started. He got it down to like $1 a barrel. And these are just ballpark numbers. Don't go Google it and tell me I'm wrong. But there were all kinds of like benefits and improvements to the standard of living of the everyday ordinary people because of this guy. Same thing for the guy who invented Walmart, Sam Walton. He doesn't deserve to be a billionaire. You know how much money he has saved all of us? Anyone who's ever shopped at Walmart and gotten a deal that they wouldn't have gotten elsewhere. They had their standard of living improved because of this guy. He improved the standard of living of about 300 million people. And so if it was just, a few bucks from each of them, he's justified his $1 billion easily. Did Michael Jordan not sell enough shoes and clothing to warrant $1 billion? Does Taylor Swift not have enough streams and ads served on those streams, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube or wherever, to justify $1 billion? Of course. Now, does she work harder than the guy who's mowing your lawn? No. But she has look, especially in the modern world, we have with tech the possibility of infinite scalability. You know what infinite scalability is? Like if Taylor Swift was going to have a billion people buy her music 20 years ago or 30 years ago, she would have to print a billion CDs, and she would have to distribute them out, and there would be a finite amount of CDs that could be sold. You could only sell what you printed. But this idea where you can throw it online and you can just do it once and 10 billion people can view it, that's infinite scalability. There's no limit to the amount of product that she can serve to her clients. So with that, of course, people can get to $1 billion. But don't you like this idea that no one deserves $1 billion except for people in government? People in government get to spend $7 trillion every year. That's not a scary, unethical proposition to you, sir? Bernie Sanders can control $7 trillion worth of spending, but Elon Musk is a bad guy if he controls $100 billion. That's interesting. That's a neat trick. Because, look, if you are the trillionaires, the only threat to your power is billionaires. That's the problem they really have with Elon Musk getting that rich, with Jeff Bezos getting that rich, with anyone getting that rich. Without anyone able to accumulate $1 billion, how could anyone go out and buy Twitter, go buy a social media platform, and make it the only one that's not on board with big government, that's not on board with Team Blue? We would have no free speech. We would have nobody challenging the power and the narrative of the federal government, if not for this evil billionaire who was able to go out and just straight up buy Twitter. And he had another little falsity in there. They didn't deserve $1 billion. You know, they got it just from the tax code and the structure of the system. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they if we had a fair tax system, we would have taken that money from them and given it to government, and that would have been more fair. You know, without the ability to keep making money, why would Elon Musk do all this stuff? He could have just made like his first $1 billion from Tesla and then not even bothered with SpaceX, not bothered with the Boring Company, not bothered with Solar City, not bothered with all of these other enterprises that he's in. Why? Because he can make more. So I really despise this. But coming up next, you'll hear Thomas Sowell with a better explanation on why they take this angle. What is their problem with other people getting rich? Is it really some sort of tight economic theory that's to the benefit of all of us? Or is it just plain old base human envy? 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, breaking news. The Senate just passed with unanimous consent to release the Epstein files. I think that means they didn't actually take a vote, so we're not going to know who voted for it and who voted against it. They just said, hey, is everyone okay with this? Anybody got a problem with it? And if no one says no, they're like, all right, it's unanimous. Pass it. We don't have to do the actual voting. So there. Done deal. You heard it first right here on WBAP. All right, I was responding to this economic fallacy that pops up every once in a while where it's illegal, it's immoral to be a billionaire. It's wrong to be a billionaire. No one deserves to be a billionaire. That's just plain old envy. Why not? You just get jealous if someone has more than you, or if you think they have too much. Why does that bother you? Why does that affect your life at all? They didn't take it from you by force. If Sam Walton has any of your money or his heirs have any of your money, it's because you went there and you voluntarily agreed to that transaction and it made your life better, or you wouldn't have done it. So it's just silly to begin with. But the motivation behind this, I find it to be really ugly, and ugly in a childish way. This is what my 4-year-olds felt like. I remember I have 4 kids on purpose. And I remember one time when my daughter, she was like 3 or 4. And she was real concerned. Like if we were handing out M&Ms, if she got 3 and one of her siblings got 4, it was a blow up. It was a, hey, Dad, no, that's not fair. And I said, well, and I did this experiment with her one day because, observing these little kiddos is hilarious all the time. And so as a dad, I said, okay, what if I gave everybody 2 M&Ms and I just gave you 1? She's like, well, that's not fair. And then I'm like, would you rather everyone get 0, including you? She said yes. So she would rather be more poor than she otherwise would be at age 4. She's not like this now. Rather than see people get ahead of her. It was this base, and children are so honest. And when you get down to these little animal levels of thought here, they expose that pretty well. It was just plain old envy. Of course, she grew out of that probably by about age 5 or 6. But Thomas Sowell explains how this blame the rich scenario keeps coming up over and over.
When politicians point their finger at the rich and whip up resentment, they're not trying to empower anybody. They're not lifting up the poor. They're disarming them. They're creating a distraction, a sleight of hand, so you don't notice what's really happening. The strategy is as old as politics itself. Stoke envy, manufacture outrage, and direct it at a convenient target. That way, people are too busy hating to ask why the schools don't teach, why the jobs don't come, or why the system keeps so many trapped in dependency.
Right. Government's not your problem. These evil rich people, they're your problem. That's pretty ugly, isn't it? It's not a good way to go about life. A couple things to end the show with. I'm just going to throw this out there for people who like to send me emails saying, oh, you worship Trump. You need to think for yourself. You're not a critical thinker. All you do is just repeat everything he says and you don't even think for. I'm about to do it twice here. Number one, I don't like this idea of straight cash for health care. Now, this is a debate that kind of ramped up over the weekend. I think it's starting to peter out now. But the discussion was that instead of all these Obamacare subsidies and help with the premiums going straight to the insurance company, why don't we give it to the consumer and let them shop for themselves?
I said, why do we just pay this money directly to the people of our country and let them buy their own health insurance? And I made that statement, and I made it a little bit cavalierly, but it sounded good. And everybody has picked up, including Democrats. And I am talking to some Democrats right now about doing that. People love it. We're going to take the money, well, if it gets approved, we're going to take the money, we're going to pay it back to the people of our country to go out and buy health insurance. Now, they can put it in a health account. We can do it a lot of different ways. But they buy their own health insurance. They can negotiate price. And it's going to be locked so they can't go out and buy a Cadillac.
Well, we saw how money's fungible with the food stamp system, and it's not going to prevent people from doing dumb things or making better decisions if you hand it out. It didn't make their food cheaper, didn't make it more abundant. So it's not going to do that with healthcare either. And it just seems odd that as a taxpayer, here we have a program that we're going to take money from you. run it through DC, and then we're going to give some of it back to you so you'll be able to better afford healthcare. How about you don't tax me that money? How about you don't inflate my currency by printing it if you don't have it already? That would help me buy healthcare too, wouldn't it? And wouldn't that keep the cost down a little better? So I disagree with that. And I'm not so sure about selling F-35s to the Saudis.
Saudi Arabia, tomorrow you're hosting
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia. Are you planning to sell F-35s to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
And also, are you looking at doing a similar security agreement like you did with
Yeah, no, I am planning on doing that. Yeah.
You're gonna
They
sell
want to
the
buy.
F-35s?
They've been a great ally. They've got to like us very much. Look at the Iran situation, what we did in terms of obliterating, we obliterated their nuclear capability.
All right. So selling some of the technology that we spent over $1 trillion in your dollars to develop, we're just going to go sell it to the Saudis? All right, I'll sell them an F-35. How about for $1 trillion? We'll sell you one. I would accept that deal. All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. Coming up, Leonard Skinner and Foreigner are on a tour together. They'll be at the Dos Equis Pavilion August 28th. You get tickets and information at livenation.com, or you can listen to the WBAP Morning Show this week to find out how you can win a pair of tickets. Coming up next, Mark Levin. In the meantime, in the next 21 hours, if you need more of me, go find the James Show podcast. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.